contradas. So again, this is kind of my understanding of contradas. I don't think it is all of the understanding of contradas. It is my limited understanding of contradas, and I'm certain, as with most things in Pakiti, that what contradas is a lot larger than what a lot of individuals express. So I always think about these sort of meta concepts, I would call them, in Pakiti as the forms that are casting shadows on the wall, and the rest of us are all of the people who are strapped to the wall, who are strapped to the opposing wall, who can just see the shadows. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. The cave.
Yeah. So it's like that sort of platonic cave, and I think, as these concepts like contradas rotate between the light, they cast different shadows, and so that's why we have seemingly different definitions. Well, not seemingly different; they are different definitions of what contradas is, or what it could be, etc., etc. And I think my own sort of journey in Pakiti has been trying to crane my neck to see what is this form that's casting that shadow. Ultimately, I think it could be a fool's errand, but if anything's confirmed, it's that I'm a fool, so let's get to it. Okay, so for most of us, when we learn contradas, and this is how I learned it when I first started, and this is how I still teach it, we'll do it sort of on the 1 and the 2, right? So 1, 2, and to enter into contradas, I'll do a broken 2. So we're doing fluid 1s and 2s, broken 2, and I'm in contradas. Now, for the purposes of this, just to stay in frame, because I hope I'm in frame, we're not going to be doing it with a lot of different footwork, again, just to keep the angle consistent. Okay, so 1s and 2s, I go into broken 2, and now I'm in contradas. Okay, this is called the contradas drill, right? If I break out, there we go. Okay, or I can also go here, circle, and I'm back. All right, so that's how most of us are introduced to contradas. Some people even call this the contradas drill, or at least a lot of people do call it the contradas drill. I consider it to be a contradas drill, but I also think of it as sort of the gateway drill into understanding contradas. Because for me, I think what this truly is actually a pasunod drill. And we're going to be talking about what that is also. Okay, so there are many different definitions of contradas. I'm not an expert in all of them, but I will be speaking as I'll try to best represent what I understand from the different methodologies of training in Pakiti Tertia. So in PTI, the concept of contradas is if you're a quicker and lighter fighter than the person that you're facing. It's getting bored. No. If you're a quicker and lighter fighter than the person that you're facing. So the person you're facing is stronger or has a heavier weapon than you, then you'll use sort of these contradas, the contradas concept, to deliver many strong hits or many precise hits to specifically the small bones and joints. So you're not going for the fleshy areas. Now, one of the things this will tell you is, of course, that when this is taught this way, when we consider it you're attacking the small joints and the bones, and you'll see that that is what happens. This becomes a stick. This is primarily a baston platform, right? Because if I have a blade, then it doesn't matter. I would rather go for the fleshy bits because I can cut more, right? I can cut more muscle. So that's how that contradas is explained in Pakiti Tertia International. Again, Tuan Bill, the OG, brilliant man. He's got a lot of writings on his blogs. Highly recommend that you read them. It has helped me understand Pakiti a lot better. And so that's PTI. Now, in Pakiti Tertia global organization, in PTKGO under Tuan Tim Wade, how the relationship between contrast, which is the foundational methods of Doce Methodos, and contradas is explained as Doce Methodos is your foundational system, and then contradas is an advanced system that comprises of contradas, recontras, and recontradas. And the primary strategy of Doce Methodos is contrast, and the primary strategy of why is there always an ambulance? And the primary strategy of contradas is pasunod. Sorry, the primary strategy of contrast is pasugat, which is force on force contact, and the primary strategy of contradas is pasunod. Now, to go deeper into contradas, I think we have to start from contrast. We have to understand that foundational system. We have to understand what that's trying to teach, what they're trying to show us, before we can go into the contrada stuff. All right, so very quickly, just to talk about how contradas, how contrasts would be seen as pasugat, right? So force and false. So again, this is pasugat. This is pasu no. It describes the direction of my weapon in relation to my opponent's application of force and his weapon. All right, so that's the pasugat pasu no sort of dynamic. Now, when we first start training Bakidia Doce Methodos and we're doing our 1s and 2s, the things we want to learn about timing and we want to learn about range. Right now, we're both in medium, right? So I need you to just take a step back. Okay. So let's go into like this sort of like largo middle distance thing. Okay. So we're doing 1s and 2s. Okay. We're doing 1s and 2s. Now, if I want to, so let's say that our timing is consistent. So our timing is equal, right? No matter how fast I go, that's the same speed that he's at. So, right? So, the objective of my weapon is to hit my target, which is either his head or somewhere on his body. Right? Ideally his head, because then that takes care of the fight. So it's ideally to hit his head. My weapon starts from here, that's the destination. His weapon starts from there, I'm the destination. If we are constantly with equal timing, then you'll see what happens in a lot of drills where our sticks are clashing, right? Now, let's say I cannot, let's say I cannot improve my timing, right? If I want to reach where I want to go faster, or at least if I want to reach where I want to go in less time, but my speed cannot increase, then what do I have to do? How? Reposition. Okay, good. I have to change my range, right? So here, we're constantly equal. I can be like, do this forever and we'll constantly be equal, right? But if I step in here and I step in, now I'm gonna end up smashing him and meeting him meeting the target a lot quicker before he's even able to launch the attack. So again, right, and I'm doing this in the half diamond, right? Here, it's like, oh no, no matter what we do, we're at equal timing, right? I go in and I smash, right? So either the head or the hand. Now in this case, you take the head, you clear. That's basically what a lot of contrast is about, false and false, right? Even when it comes to the angle 2, right? I'm not trying to meet his weapon, right? I step in and I destroy the body before the angle 2 comes out. So again, right? I'm here. I'm closing the gap so that my force is against his force, but my force gets to where it has to go to first. So that's, I think, what we talk about when we generally try to train contrast. And honestly, that's the efficient thing, right? Because if I'm here and we're both getting ready, and I go and I just smash, just take out the head, I don't have to worry about that contact anymore. So that's when we go, okay, what if I don't have that advantage, the ability to take on that position of superiority? How do I then either equalize or gain that advantage? And I think that's where we go into contradas. So the reason I come to this conclusion, before I go into that, the reason I call the angle 1 and 2 a pasunot drill as an entryway to contradas is because I think it's still, and I could be wrong, people will disagree with me about this and they'll also be correct, is that it is done on contrast timing. So if you look at contrast timing, right, it's one-on-one, right, it's matched. It's still matched even if we're feeding and counter-striking. It's still matched, it's still on that timing. However, if I want to learn contradas, I have to start from somewhere that I'm familiar. So that's why I'm doing this on this sort of contrast timing where we're both going 1 for 1, right? And I'm not trying to beat his timing or using a tactic to get a superior timing. So that brings me into contradas, right? Now, let's look at the Doce Metodos Contradas. I'm going to do like an abbreviated version of it. The Doce Metodos Contradas, there's 3 sets of 12. I am only familiar with the first set of 12, and so I'll just show that, and then I'll explain how it's led me down this journey. Okay, so the first three sequences in Doce Metodos Contradas are the what I call the engaño sequences. Some people call them the behind the clock sequences. And basically, if his angle is coming out here, right, I'm either following behind, that's my paso node. I'm either going to do a horizontal knockout strike, horizontal jab to the hand. Now, take note, in PTI, the horizontal knockout strike is done to the head, and I love that. All right. Or it's what they call the opposite angle from the clock, where if it's coming from here, I'm going here. Okay, so I'm only going to be demonstrating this in the angle 1, so just for time. Okay, so the first 3, the reason I call them the engaño set is because they start with a feint, and I strike down. Right, so I twirl and I do this engaño to feint to hit. Right? F-E-I-N-T, obviously. Okay, so I'm going 1. Sorry, let's do it on fencing line. 1, 2, 3, and I strike. Right, and of course I've got the footwork movement and all that that'll get me that strike, but again, for angles. So 1, 2, 3, here to strike the hand. So that's number 1. 1, 2, 3, here to strike this, or the kill, the knockout shot to the head, and then my water wheel. Right, so it goes here, there, and then I've also got the angle 3. Right, so up, down, down. Right, so that's the first 3 in the Doce Metodos Contradas. Now, number 4 has me stepping in to do a witek. So there's a bunch of them that's actually quite close, and that's also why you find this Doce Metodos Contradas first set within the Pakiti Metodos, which means close. So number 4 is where I'm going in here, right? So I'm going to cut in, and I'm going to jam this. Cut, jam, hit. So I'm hitting this with the flat of I'm doing a witek, so it's with the flat of the blade. Hit, cut, witek, and then vertical cut. Okay, so that's number 4. And you'll notice I'm stepping in now, right? So I'm trying to change that range, I'm trying to get superior timing. So, you know, these things all come into play. Number 5 is my Panastas Sumkete, so I go in here, thrust, right? Or if you defend this, come in here, thrust, right? So, again, that's interesting, the relationship between the Doce Metodos and Tri-V, because this is a contradas drill, but for those of us, I should say, most of us train in Tri-V, that's really one of our first thrust drills that we do, right? So that's number 5. Again, I step in here, I'm thrusting, so that's my Panastas Sumkete. Okay, and then number 6 is actually an interesting one because it is a deflection. This is one of my favorites to do as well, where when they meet, I'm going to hit this down, but instead of trying to hit it down completely, right, I want to hit it down, and I want to slide to hit the hand. So it's like I'm doing this. So this C-cut, sometimes called the lawin, right, is to hit the hand as it's coming on this side, is to hit the hand, right? So this is the C-cut. Now, this is that slide. In Pakiti, we refer to as a lagis. So this is part of that lagis as well. So that's number 6. Number 7 is very similar to number 4. Okay, so number 7 is very similar to number 4, where it's, I'm going to go in here, right? When I'm stepping in, I'm going to cut. The difference is, rather than hit with the flat, I'm actually doing a santika. I'm hitting with the spine of the hit, cut, and this is also hit. So this is a santikan with the spine of the blade, and I go for the neck, or I go for the head, but this is generally towards the neck, and that's a cut. And then we go into 8, 9, which are kind of paired. So 8 would be an umbrella, right? Umbrella, cut, santikan to the knuckles, and 9 is a 4-wall, santikan to the knuckles. There are follow-ups, I'm just not doing them for the sake of time. 10 is the Doce Metodos Contradas with the juego todo, juego tirada concept. So it's going here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I go back down here, cut, or I can do it on this side. 1, 2, okay. So that's Dolce Methodus Contradas number 10. We go to the Contrada. 11 and 12 are sort of partnered with 8 and 9 because they are the umbrella and the forewall with a scoop. So either dos manos scoop, or as long as you're scooping, you're fine, basically. Okay, so 11, just to make it quick, is the forewall, right? And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to scoop. And then I do that seguidas thing. And 9 is, sorry, my bad. 11 is the umbrella. Did I do umbrella or forward?
You did that forward.
Okay, sorry. 11 is the umbrella. Right here. Scoop, hit, strike. And 12 is the forward. So the sides are 12 is the forewall. You're going to come in here, scoop, hit, right? And then you just finish. So that's the Dolce Methodus Contradas 1 to 12. Now this is very similar to how, as far as I've seen, Tuan Jack has taught it, Tuan Bill has taught it, and Tuan Phil Galinas has taught it. I primarily get this from Tuan Phil and Tuan Kids teaching materials. So that's how Contradas first set is taught in Dolce Methodus, and this is specifically for solo baston. Now what this tells me, what this shows me is, this is an answer to what if I'm not able to get that superiority and come in, right? Because we're going to this timing, we're equal, right? No matter what I do, now I can't, maybe for some reason I cannot change my angle, right? So because of that, yeah, so what he did, right? So because I can't change my angle, every time I move in, boom, no, it's still the same, we're still equal. How do I get superior, right? And that's when I think that is kind of like, oh, I'm gonna fake that, and then strike comes in, okay? And so the first thread engaño, I use the feint to bait the strike, and then I can strike as his attack comes in, right? Then there's also the forewall stuff, which for me is, the forewall is always, oh, I'm gonna pull this in as he strikes, because if I don't pull it in, either he's gonna smash my hand, or he's gonna smash my face. I've messed up my timing somehow, so I'm like, oh shit, okay, now I'm here, right? Now I'm here, so I can start striking. Okay, so I think that's that part that drives me to say that I think Contradas is an equation. Now I know GT Leo Gaye says combat equation or trigonometric equation a lot, and I can see where he's coming from these days, right? So I think it's an equation where timing, range, position, they're all variables, and the equation has sort of like a conditional. What am I using this equation for, right? If my timing is superior, if my ranging is superior, maybe I don't need that equation. I'm just going straight. I just smash whatever comes in, right? But maybe my timing and range are not that superior, right? So now I need a different sort of combat equation to help me counter his attack, right? So counter on motion before attack time, combat. That's what GT says, right? So I wanna counter that movement, but oh shit, right? Now I'm here. Okay, well maybe I can control this and I can smash, or maybe as I come through, okay, I got this. I can hit this, or I can hit this, and I can cut, and I can start doing those movements, right? So I'm unable to. I can't get that superiority to just finish the fight quickly, so now I have to start playing around his weapon hand, right? So I think that's another thing about Contradas that people have described. It's how you attack the weapon hand first from the outside line. And we see that hold true in the Dolce Methodus Contradas drills. Yeah, so that's what we see hold true during the Dolce Methodus Contradas drills, right? Because again, oh shit, but what if, he's coming in and I'm here, right? This, I think, is what also speaks to me of the, if he has a larger weapon or he's stronger than me, these are the tactics that I need to use, right? Because if he's larger than me and stronger than me, I'm not going to be able to hold this, right? This is just going to come through, I'm just going to eat into it, right? And I think this is where I realize, oh, okay, that's how the definition that's used in PTI comes into play, where, oh, I've got this, okay, but I need to move out now, and I need to finish that fight, okay? So we can see how this equation has largely held through in the different ways that it's presented. and that's why I call it an equation. Again, a lot of these considerations I'm demonstrating purely with Sola Baston. There is, of course, the Espada y Daga contradas. There's the Doble Baston contradas. Again, the shadows it casts with the different things it starts to get involved. So that's a lot of faffing about the different ways of learning contradas, the different ways we can learn contradas, right? So just to reiterate, when I first learned contradas, it was on the broken angle 2. It's okay, right? It's on the broken angle 2. And this is when I first learned contradas through PTKGO. So that's how I got first introduced to contradas. I will say in the PDTA when I teach contradas, this is also how I do it. Because again, as I mentioned, this is the passo note drill, right? So this is just the drill to, fancy mic. This is just the drill to teach me the passo note concept of getting around before my opponent attacks. And when I start adding in the footwork, the ranging, the timing, the things start to fall into place, right? However, you can also teach contradas as you've seen with the Dolce Metodos contradas set, because that also emphasizes different qualities of contradas. Ultimately, I think contradas is an equation that I use either when I'm trying to bait my opponent because I want to strike something on the outside line, counter strike of some sort, right? So it's always, I feel like there's an indirectness to the quality of contradas, right? I should say, like, it's not just my direct, oh, I'm gonna just smash through, right? It's very much the, oh, I'm gonna come in, oh shit, it's around, it's gonna strike. So that's why, is contradas a drill? Yes. Is contradas a timing? I would say even more so. I'm starting to conceive or think of contradas as an equation, which has different variables. I don't know what all the variables are yet. There's some variables that I won't be able to articulate just yet. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll agree with this video, or maybe I'll disagree with what I'm saying today in a few days, in a year, a week. Who knows? So, ultimately, contradas is this equation. Once I've learned, okay, I can start controlling my range and timing to hit different targets, right? So the important thing about ranging is also learning about the targets. What happens if I need to do something else that's not a direct strike to something? Do I just stay here and hit sticks? No, of course not, right? I find a different tactic to maybe go into contradas. And that's not what one of the sequences, but it's still, I would feel within timing-wise, it's still contradas. Why do we say contradas is a timing? Because you can do certain drills in the contrast versus contradas timing. So for example, if I was to enter into my my 724, right? When I start out with this, go into this, and I do my pito pito 724 77 drill, I can do it on contrast timing. So to demonstrate in contrast timing, right, it'll be high, low, high, and I strike that as it's coming in. So I'm actually going to go for his hand, but we're not wearing gloves today, so we're going to be high, right? So 1, 2, 3, destroy the hand. Okay, so that's on contrast timing. How do I do this on contradas timing? 1, 2. Okay. So I'm going here, and I'm going to try and hit that on the way in. Or 1, 2. Right, so there are different ways of doing it contradas timing. Generally, the way I learn is right. So that's my pito pito in contradas timing. So again, contradas is a timing. Contradas is a drill. I think of contradas as an equation that gives me an edge, that gives me some sort of ability to shape or to be in more control of my timing, my range, and my position against what my opponent gives me, right? And yeah, I think if I could just keep talking for 10 minutes, but that's not gonna happen. So that's where I am with my understanding of contradas. Again, it's a huge thing. Other people have different understandings. If your instructor says that's not what it is, listen to your instructor. Don't listen to some random guru on the internet. All right. So have fun. If you want, you can tell me what you think about contradas. I just enjoy training it. It used to be one of my favorite things to do in sparring because the truth is I'm not that quick. So baiting and doing contradas made me seem a lot quicker than I was. So thanks everyone. Have fun training.